Years ago, a photo of a little girl with striking doll-like features took the internet by storm. People were captivated by her porcelain skin and delicate beauty. But what happened to her as she grew up? What unfolded over the years is nothing short of remarkable. "Mom, why are they all staring at me?" whispered 2-year-old Ira Brown as she clung to her mother's leg in the checkout line of a crowded supermarket. Alicia Brown looked down, smoothing her daughter's silky blonde hair and forcing a smile as strangers hovered nearby, snapping photos with their phones. "It's because you're just so beautiful, sweetheart," Alicia replied. But deep down, she knew it wasn't just beauty. It was something beyond that. Ira's flawless porcelain skin, ocean blue eyes framed with long lashes, and delicate pink lips made her look less like a toddler and more like a handcrafted doll. People didn't just stare, they gawked. It had been that way since Ira's birth in 2009 in a small town in Virginia. Even the hospital staff had crowded into her room, remarking that the newborn looked like a baby model straight from a magazine cover. The word unusual came up often. Alicia and her husband Derek never thought much of it until bills started stacking up, and Alicia lost her job at the local diner. One night, scrolling online, Alicia stumbled on a contest for America's Cutest Baby. With nothing to lose, she uploaded a picture of Ira. By morning, the photo had gone viral. Comments flooded in. "She's a real-life doll. The blonde angel. Barbie come to life." Within weeks, Alicia's inbox filled with offers from children's brands wanting Ira to model for their campaigns. At first, she was hesitant, but after Derek's hours got cut at the factory and rent was overdue, the decision seemed made for them. What started as a few weekend shoots snowballed. By Ira's second birthday, she was booked solid, modeling clothes for boutique lines and filming commercials. Photographers couldn't get enough of her doll-like features. It seemed unreal, a toddler funding the family budget. "She's just so perfect," one director said on set, crouching down to adjust Ira's lace bonnet during a shoot for a high-end children's wear brand. "I swear she doesn't even look human." But perfection came with pressure. As Ira's face plastered magazine ads and store posters, Alicia began managing every detail: her wardrobe, her skincare, even her diet. Ira couldn't so much as scrape a knee without Alicia worrying it would ruin the look. By the time Ira turned 4, modeling wasn't a part-time gig anymore. It was a lifestyle. No playgrounds without makeup, no playdates without making sure her hair stayed curled. But beneath the flawless exterior, Ira noticed the difference. Other kids played. She posed. Other kids had scraped knees and messy ponytails. She had photo shoots and fittings. "Why don't the other girls have to smile for pictures all the time?" Ira asked one night as Alicia tucked her in. "Because they're not special like you," Alicia answered, brushing hair from Ira's forehead and ignoring the dull ache in her chest. It was meant to be a compliment. But in time, Ira would wonder if special was just another word for lonely. By the time Ira was 5, she wasn't just the girl who looked like a doll. She was the most recognizable child model in the country. Her Instagram, run by Alicia, crossed 500,000 followers. Strangers sent gifts from across the world. High-end fashion labels requested her for runway shows. The fame was intoxicating. There were makeup artists, stylists, and photographers who treated Ira like royalty. At pageants, she won without competition. The crowd adored her. The judges practically handed over trophies the moment she stepped on stage. "She's America's sweetheart," Alicia overheard someone whisper at a beauty contest. "A living Barbie." But Ira wasn't quite sure how to handle the attention. While other kids colored and played tag, she was coached on how to tilt her head for the best light and hold a smile until her cheeks hurt. Behind the scenes, cracks began to show. Ira started dreading early mornings before shoots. She flinched at the tug of curling irons. Worse, she overheard whispers from other stage moms. "She won't stay that cute forever," one said. "They never do." Alicia brushed it off. "Jealousy," she told Ira. "Ignore them." Still, Alicia couldn't ignore the truth. Ira was growing. Her baby-fat cheeks were slimming. The once otherworldly glow of her skin was beginning to look normal. So Alicia adapted. She applied more makeup, invested in higher-end products. She bought hairpieces to add volume to Ira's golden locks. There were even whispers of trying child-safe skin treatments to keep Ira's doll-like appearance intact. But Ira was changing in ways makeup couldn't fix. By 7, she wanted to quit pageants. "Mom, I just want to play soccer," she admitted one day after practice. Alicia laughed it off. "Maybe after your next shoot." But deep down, Ira knew that wasn't true. Her schedule was packed for months, with little time for anything beyond rehearsals and shoots. Then came the twist that shook Alicia to her core. One of Ira's biggest brand contracts was canceled without notice. The email read, "We're going in a new direction with fresher faces. Thank you for your time." Fresher faces. Ira overheard Alicia crying in the kitchen that night. She hugged her mom tightly, whispering, "It's okay. Maybe I'm not supposed to look like a doll forever." But Alicia couldn't accept that. Not yet. She doubled down, pushing Ira into more contests, more high-pressure gigs, all while chasing the fading spotlight. Ira obeyed, but the joy she once had while twirling in dresses and smiling for the cameras was gone. Behind her big blue eyes was a growing sadness no makeup could cover. And with every passing day, the inevitable question loomed larger. What happens when the doll grows up? By the time Ira turned 8, something shifted. Not just in her, but around her. The bookings slowed. The calls stopped. It was as if someone had flipped a switch on her golden doll-like glow. Her once plump, cherubic cheeks had thinned, and the ethereal sparkle in her big blue eyes had softened. Ira was still a beautiful girl, no question. But the whispers began. She doesn't look quite like she used to. She's growing out of it. And just like that, the modeling world, once desperate for every second of Ira's time, started looking elsewhere. The next wave of tiny, wide-eyed blondes had arrived, and the agencies were eager to make room. At first, Alicia refused to believe it. "They're making a mistake," she told Derek late one night while scrolling through Ira's old photos. "Look at her. She's still perfect." Derek, always the quieter of the two, just nodded. "She's getting older, honey. It happens." But Alicia wouldn't accept that. Not when they had come so far. Not when Ira's entire childhood had been carefully curated into a flawless brand. If the world wasn't going to see the same blonde angel anymore, Alicia would make them see it. So the measures became more extreme. Makeup was no longer reserved for shoots. Every public outing required foundation, blush, and tinted lip gloss. Wigs in various shades of blonde appeared in Ira's closet, and expensive skin treatments became part of her weekly routine. "Mom, do I really have to wear all this?" Ira asked quietly one afternoon, tugging at the itchy wig as they prepared for a new photo shoot, this time for a brand that had already postponed twice. "You do if you want them to remember you," Alicia answered, adjusting the curls with practiced hands. "The world loved the doll version of you. We can't let them forget." But Ira wasn't sure she wanted to be remembered like that anymore. School had become a challenge. Her classmates treated her differently. Some whispered behind her back, calling her the doll girl, with a mocking tone. Others were too intimidated to approach her at all. Ira found herself sitting alone at lunch more often than not. Then came the article. A popular parenting blog ran a feature titled, "Is Childhood Stardom Stealing Our Kids?" and used Ira's picture as the cover. The piece accused her parents of exploiting her, arguing they had robbed their daughter of a normal childhood in pursuit of fame and fortune. For the first time, Alicia felt real backlash. Hate comments flooded Ira's Instagram. Trolls called Alicia selfish, and worse, even other parents at school began to distance themselves. At home, the tension grew. Ira became quieter. Meals were eaten in near silence, and Alicia filled the gaps with forced positivity. "One big job, that's all we need," she repeated like a mantra. "Something to get us back on top." But deep down, Ira wondered what "on top" even meant anymore. And then came the biggest blow of all. The agency that had represented Ira since she was 2 politely dropped her from their roster. The email was short. "Thank you for the beautiful years. We wish Ira the best in her future. No future shoots, no upcoming campaigns, just thank you and goodbye." And with that, the era of the doll was over. For the first time in years, Ira's calendar was empty. No auditions, no fittings, no rehearsals, and it felt strange. At 10 years old, Ira was discovering life beyond the camera lens. She tried soccer, joined the art club, and started making friends who didn't recognize her from magazine ads. For the first time, people called her Ira, not the doll, not Barbie, just Ira. But Alicia struggled. She wasn't ready to let go. She spent hours scrolling through old photos, remembering the VIP events, the interviews, the praise. One evening, she sat across from Ira at the dinner table. "What if we restart your social media, rebrand you as a teen influencer, maybe tutorials or daily vlogs?" Ira shook her head. "Mom, I'm done." Alicia blinked. "Done? Yeah, I don't want to do this anymore." "But Ira, I'm not a doll, I'm just me." It was the first time she'd said it so clearly, and it stung. The house felt quieter after that. Alicia backed off, more from shock than agreement. She canceled the few lingering bookings they had and watched her daughter slowly transform back into a normal kid. But just when it seemed the story had finally faded into the past, an unexpected email arrived. A journalist from Obozravatel, an international news site, wanted to do a Where Are They Now feature. The subject? Remember the little girl who looked like a doll? This is what happened to her. Alicia wasn't sure if Ira would be interested, but to her surprise, Ira said yes. Why? Alicia asked. Because people deserve to know the truth, Ira said. And maybe it'll help some other kid who's stuck pretending to be something they're not. And so, the interview was scheduled. On the day of the shoot, Ira wore minimal makeup and left her hair in its natural waves. She picked a simple dress, nothing fancy. The photographer, expecting the same doll-like figure from years past, seemed momentarily stunned when Ira arrived, now a tall, slender girl with braces and freckles. "You've grown up," he said, almost as if it was a disappointment. Ira smiled. "Yeah, I have." And as the cameras flashed, she didn't feel like a product. She felt like a person finally ready to tell her story. The interview room felt cold, or maybe it was just Ira's nerves catching up with her. 14 now, sitting across from the journalist from Obozravatel, she couldn't help but notice the familiar glint of curiosity in his eyes. It wasn't malicious. It was the same look people had given her for years, the same silent question. Is this really the same girl who looked like a doll? He tapped his recorder. "So, Ira Brown, the real-life doll. Tell me, what happened to her?" Ira smiled faintly. "Well, this is what happened to her." And just like that, the words started pouring out. She told him everything. How it felt to have her life scheduled down to the hour before she even knew how to read. How her earliest memories weren't of birthday parties or playgrounds, but of bright white photography lights. And adults adjusting her curls while saying, "Tilt your head just a bit more, sweetie." "But you were extraordinary," the journalist said, flipping through photos of Ira at 2, 3, and 4 years old. "These pictures, they're still unbelievable." "Sure," Ira shrugged. "But kids grow up. Dolls don't." He looked at her carefully, as if realizing for the first time that the girl in front of him didn't match the legend. The baby doll face was gone, replaced by a teenage girl with freckles across her cheeks and braces on her teeth. Her hair was darker now, more golden brown than platinum. Her once perfectly plump lips had slimmed with age, and though her blue eyes were still striking, they no longer had that surreal glassy shine people once obsessed over. But Ira didn't mind, not anymore. What shocked the journalist most was that Ira had no plans to return to modeling. No aspirations for the catwalk. No desire for spotlights or magazine covers. She loved photography now, but from behind the lens. She played midfield on her school soccer team. She spent weekends sketching, reading, hanging out with friends who didn't treat her like a spectacle. "So you're just normal now?" the journalist asked. Ira laughed. "Exactly. Isn't that crazy?" As they wrapped up, he turned off the recorder and leaned in slightly. "You know, when I was assigned this story, I thought you'd have some huge secret, some big reveal." "Well," Ira said thoughtfully, "maybe the big reveal is that there's no big reveal. I was a little girl who looked like a doll, and now I'm not." And that was it, the mystery solved. The next week, the article went live, titled exactly as promised. "Remember the little girl who looked like a doll? This is what happened to her." But what no one expected was what happened next, because for the first time in Ira's life, people weren't talking about her face. They were talking about her story. The reaction was instant. Within hours of the article's release, Ira's name trended online again, but this time, not because of her looks. Messages poured in from people all over the world, former child actors, retired pageant kids, and teens who had been pushed into the spotlight too young. Their words were almost always the same. "Thank you for saying what we couldn't. I thought I was the only one. It's nice to know I'm not alone." Ira read each message with quiet pride. This was different. It wasn't about admiration or obsession. It wasn't the way people used to stare at her in grocery stores or tug on her arm for selfies. This was respect, understanding, connection. And surprisingly, opportunities followed, but not the ones Alicia had spent years chasing. Schools invited Ira to speak about childhood fame and self-identity. A youth mental health organization asked her to share her experiences at their annual conference. Even a book publisher reached out, suggesting she write a memoir. At first, Ira wasn't sure, but slowly the idea of using her story to help others started to feel right. As for Alicia, she'd gone quiet after the article, not upset, just reflective. One night, as they folded laundry together, she broke the silence. "I'm sorry," she said softly. "For all of it. I thought I was helping you. I thought I was giving you something amazing." Ira set down the shirt she was folding. "I know, Mom. When people looked at you like you were magic, I think part of me felt like we couldn't let them stop." "I get it," Ira admitted. But I'm okay with it now, really. Alicia nodded, her eyes glassy. I'm proud of you, you know, for telling your story, for being you. And for the first time in years, Ira believed her. From that point on, the past stayed where it belonged, in the past. Ira didn't need to hide from it, but she didn't have to live in it either. She wasn't trying to recapture the doll image or resurrect the fame. She was content to simply be Ira Brown, a regular teenager with a remarkable history and an even brighter future. As she walked to school one crisp morning, camera slung over her shoulder, soccer cleats in her backpack, and a notebook full of writing ideas tucked safely away, Ira paused at the corner where the grocery store still stood, the same one where people used to stop and stare. Now, they hardly noticed her, and that was exactly how she liked it. Because finally, after all these years, she wasn't the girl who looked like a doll anymore. She was just the girl who got to live her life. And honestly, that felt like the best ending of all. Would you have handled things differently if you were in Alicia's shoes? And do you think Ira would have turned out differently if she wasn't used as a model from the start? Tell us in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to join us again for more revealing stories.